everyone, and welcome back to the Barely Bookish podcast. Today, I am once again joined by Nova and James,
Hi.
Hello.
and we're going to continue talking about Salem's Lot. We're still on part 2, but we're finishing up part 2 today. And then next week, we will be continuing on with part 3 and the end of the book.
There's a lot that happens. Even though
Yeah.
part 2 runs by so much faster, there's still so much to cover.
I know.
But it's not nearly as dense as Act 1.
Mm-hmm. That's for sure. Like, I feel like Act 1, I could have skipped through it very easily. Now I'm like, we have to talk about every single detail of every single chapter ever.
Yeah.
Right.
But the
So-
thing is, though, is it pays off very, very well. For such dense amount of characters and backstory and lore,
Mhm.
it pays off so well and played out so beautifully
Mhm.
in a very dark way.
Yeah, for sure. I love it. I really like this book. So we are on to chapter 11. Ben. Good news. Matt's heart attack is a minor one, which is something we love to hear. I did not want Matt to die, even though I'm pretty sure he's going to die by the end of this book anyways. Ben has decided that him and Susan are going to Dr. Cody and tell him everything that's happened, because that's a very logical next step, I guess. I mean, I guess if you want to see if you can get up a dead body, the person you got to go to is the doctor, so it makes sense. But I'm still like, I don't know if I'd go around town finding everybody and be like, hey, guess what happened?
Right?
Vampires.
Even a doctor is like, we better kind of keep this a little lowbrow. Like, you're asking me to excavate a corpse? Like,
Mhm.
that's not going to go so well with the rest of the people, you know?
Facts. Yeah. It's surprising to me how pretty much everybody believes him that he tells, with
Yeah.
like very little evidence.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's like, we're along for the ride. You know, we're not here for a long time. We're here for a good time.
I feel like it's very different than most like stereotypical horror tropes, where like most of the time nobody believes them until it's way too late and the like monsters are devouring their face and they're like, I should have believed you, and we're all like, yeah, stupid. So
Too late now.
yeah,
but
love
like
this.
also too, King sat there and said that this was obviously like kind of like a remake of Dracula in a
Mhm.
sense. And so he's had ever since what, 1922's Nosferatu, all the way from there to see every trope ever used in the vampire tale that was slightly based off of Dracula and everything. So I think he did pretty well if he ever really saw any of those movies and it's all like, oh, okay, that's pretty different. You know, maybe I could incorporate something like that. You know, that's what it felt like. It felt like he did do his homework to make this just as much of a unique entry into the vampire lore.
Yeah, which I love.
Oh, yeah.
Love that. I like vampire books, so brings me serotonin.
You look like the kind of person that would probably sit there and watch some type of vampire academy. You know, the girl just got bit. Now she has to go learn with all the other vampires, and there's some weird, dark, spooky shit that was buried in the grounds, and now it's killing everyone. I
feel like I
get
should
that
be
vibe
offended, but I'm not, because it's accurate. Okay, like
you're probably.
that is
I
my
would write
vibe.
that book. I would write that book.
Yeah, that sounds very much like something I'd be into. Tell me what that book title is, okay? I actually did really like Vampire Academy, and I was pissed when they like didn't finish the TV show. But it looks like I just saw something from Penguin that they are bringing a movie soon. I think like they're redoing it, so like it'll have a whole new cast. And I'm like, yes, excellent.
But
like,
even when you go back though to the TV show, it's like it's still unfinished. It's like, why couldn't you finish it?
I know. And it's like they
Yeah.
left it with a cliffhanger and they're like, best of luck. Like, I'm guessing that they just didn't get renewed. Because the hard part about like book adaptations is because they so loosely follow the book and they don't market it well. Like, you either market it to the people who have already read the book. In that case, you want to follow the book very, very closely, because if you don't follow the book nerds are going to be like, what the fuck? Or you switch up your entire marketing and market it to people who have never read the book. In that case, you cannot assume they know any hidden knowledge about the book. Everything has to be a
Yeah.
surprise and everything has to be told to them.
Mhm.
And like a lot of movies have this issue where they either assume you've read the books, they don't give you enough detail, or just go
Dark
so far
Tower.
from the plot. Yeah. So, uh, I was
But
watching
also
a
too,
movie. Oh, sorry.
there is a thing though that you can sit there and you can learn from. As much as I detest it, The Walking Dead, where
Mm-hmm.
there was a fan base that knew of this indie comic book, and then
Mm-hmm.
there were people like me. I didn't know it was a comic book first and
Yeah.
everything, but I think that they painted it pretty well, at least all the way up to like the introduction to Negan. Because I stopped watching afterwards. That they kind of did like a really good mix of like, okay, we take elements from the book
Mm-hmm.
and then we kind of mix some stuff up to make up. So it pleases both the reading audience and then um, the newer audience that are just now being engrossed in the story. But
Yeah.
then also too, you have those comic book fans that's all like, it's not like the book, and I was like, of course. Then you get fucking bored. You'll know what the hell happened. That's the whole point why they changed it and
Yeah.
everything. And
In
Yeah.
my screenwriting classes in college, we'd talk about when you do an adaptation, you're no longer just looking at the book audience. You now
Mm-hmm.
have the
you have to
entire
sell to
movie
everyone.
audience. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're like, you can't just be like, oh, here's the book. You have to incorporate things that other people are going to be pulled into to be able to
Mm-hmm.
get it out there.
It's like when Marvel fans get all pissy that they're not like the comic books. I'm like, yeah, dude. Like, not all the comic books are great, or because there's so many of them, they don't always line up. They're not gonna
Yeah.
always be like the comic books. There's too many of them. You can't
Yeah.
keep
Yeah.
all your plot lines straight. You know how many times they've reset the X-Men universe? Like, things are getting wonky, buddy. Okay? Like, we can't keep going and being like, oh, but in this timeline, in this universe. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't
But
care.
see, I think though, if you want something like that, you can't do it in a film. You have to do it in television.
Mm-hmm.
Most Marvel
Yeah.
comic properties, though, from what I've learned with this phase that they've done, and I'm so sorry for this big old transition away from Salem's
It's
Lot,
fine.
but the thing that I've learned that has become successful so far in the MCU is
Mhm.
the adaptation of street level heroes. So like Daredevil, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, She-Hulk. As much as She-Hulk is kind of getting a little bit of mixed reviews, I think this would have been far better as a TV show. Maybe even a little bit better writing, because it kind of felt like this was a movie just broken up into a film, and a lot of people will say that. But street level heroes make the best um, TV shows. Like those are your. They don't have to be a gritty crime drama, but they could be something like that. Spider-Man could easily be
Yeah.
a TV show with the
Yeah.
amount of storytelling with relationships that Parker has in between him and MJ, and then all the other villains. And you can kind of
Mhm.
say the same thing for the X-Men, but there's also moments of the X-Men and Spider-Man's life where you just can't do that on a television budget, unless you have,
Mhm.
Game of Thrones money,
Yeah.
then yeah,
Yeah.
maybe. But other than that, like, so that's why you kind of have characters like Spider-Man and Captain America and Iron Man and the X-Men and the soon to be Fantastic Four, you know, uh
Mhm.
they're in the movies, while you have like these smaller guys like Moon Knight and Daredevil that are just taking over the television screen. You have to find like a good balance, and when it comes to the MCU, ground level heroes, perfect TV. Your save the universe heroes, perfect movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been watching Harley Quinn. I know it's DC, so like don't roast
Yeah.
me, but oh my god, is it so freaking good? It's so good. I love it so much. I'm like on episode like 5 now. I've rewatched 1 through 5 twice because I watched it with my sibling and then I
Mm-hmm.
came, I have a roommate now, and my roommate, I was like, "Hey, I want to watch this TV show." And I'm really bad about watching TV shows and movies, so I was like, I need someone that's gonna like ask me to watch it. So I was like, hey,
Yeah.
you want to watch this with me? And so I rewatched 1 through 5 with her, and I'm like, okay, now let's watch this together. So now tonight I get to watch more, and I'm very excited about it because I freaking love it.
I need to see the new season. I've all caught up where, um,
I'm only on
well,
episode 1 through 5. Don't spoil it for me.
oh, okay. So you're still in the first season. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it gets so much more wackier. It gets so much more wackier. Like, the moment that I think okay, you guys can't top this. The show creators managed to like, no, we're gonna jump the shark, and by
Mhm.
shark we mean the shark's in space, and we're gonna jump that. You
Good.
know, but it's done in a very funny way where it
Mhm.
doesn't feel like, oh, like, okay, that felt like jumping the shark. I was like, no, it actually feels very, very much in the spirit of Harley Quinn, you know.
Yeah, which
And I
I
love the
love.
actress who does the voice of her from The Big
Oh,
Bang Theory,
yeah. Yeah.
Kaylee Cuoco or something like that, or
Yeah, I don't know. I could guess, but I'm not sure.
yeah. All I
Yeah,
know
I
is her
couldn't
name
tell you
is
the last
Penny.
name. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's Kaylee something, but I don't know how.
yeah.
Yeah,
I would just
there's
be
too
like
many
word
vowels in that
vomiting.
last name for me to remember off the top of my head right now.
Listen, if I don't know you personally, my chances of knowing your name are very slim to none. I am very bad with
Mood
actors
mood.
and actresses' names.
Yeah.
Same though. People would
Yeah.
be like, "Oh, did you see this person in this film?" And I'm like, "What character was that?" And they're like, "The lead." I'm like, "Oh, yeah,
Listen, if
totally."
if an actor or actress gets pissy that I don't know their full name, I'm sorry. Have a personal connection with me. Send me $10 million and I will remember your name. No
Oh,
worries.
that's a personal connection. I think that's a
Yeah.
personal deposit, but
You know, whatever.
Make a charitable donation to my bank account, and like,
Yeah.
I'll put your name on everything.
Yeah. I'll have it monogrammed on my soul, okay?
oh my god.
Um anyways, Salem's Lot.
That
Speaking
should
of
just be
stealing
like,
soul,
that's just the title for all of this now. Is anyways,
Salem's
Salem's
Lot.
Lot.
maybe when I tell people the episode breakdown of what chapters in what episode, it'll be anyways, dot dot dot, Salem's Lot.
Yeah.
Episode breakdown.
Yep.
So Matt is filling our man Ben in on everything that led up to his heart attack. Matt asks Susan what she oh sorry. No. Matt is filling Susan in on everything that no. I was correct the first time. I
Yeah.
didn't trust myself. That was the problem. Matt's filling Ben in on everything that led up to his heart attack. Matt asks Susan what she thinks, and she still does not believe. So Matt's like, okay, weirdo. Anyways, I'm just gonna start doing research because I'd rather not die. Which, good choice. Love that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's be honest. If I was in a horror movie, this would be me. Because I'd rather not do the fighting. I'd rather just send you my 10 pages of notes I found on vampire bites than be like, yeah, I'm gonna totally go fight a vampire.
Hi, I'm
I'm
gonna
pretty
lock
sure Matt
myself in
was
my
younger. Yeah.
basement with my computer and all the crucifixes and
Mhm.
garlic and UV lights that I can find, and I will text you, and you'll get a lovely email whenever you need updates.
Me being the Bobby in Supernatural. Salt rim
I was
around
like, you gonna help
myself.
us? It's like I just did the whole freaking load of the work for you. Now you guys go kill the son of a bitch and bury it. And like,
Mhm.
it's like what
Figure
what
it
else
out.
do you want from me?
I have given you
Love
all the
Bobby.
information. Go. I will
I
stay here in my little ring.
I would be filling hula hoops
Yeah.
with salt, throwing it around demons casually. Someone would walk into my house. It'd be my library, shotgun with the salt rounds in it, hula hoops next to me, in a pentagram, in a bunch of pentagrams, and then just be like, "Hey, what's up, guys? Yeah, you can take a seat over there, all the way on the other end, and you can talk to me from there. Just yell over. Get any
There's a
closer.
phone connected. You could just pick it up and I can hear you.
Yeah. Slide food through that meal slot."
She pretty much just made a huge bubble for herself, pretty much.
Yeah, no, dude. If the second I found out all that shit was real, I'd bubble down. Absolutely not. You'd never see me leave my house. Have you seen this? Okay, last side tangent. Have you seen the girl on TikTok that recently realized that if you have a welcome mat, it like automatically welcomes vampires in? And she goes, I'm not saying vampires are real. I'm just saying I don't want to find out. So she threw away her mat that said welcome and replaced it with hello. And someone was like, hello is also a greeting. And
Oh my
she's like,
god.
okay, never mind. And then the girls, someone else commented and was like, yeah, my mat just says go away. So I think they get the message. My mat says tricks and treats. So there you go.
You
We
may
want
get a
one that
trick.
says wipe your paws.
That's cute.
I don't
Daniel
have one.
sent me one that says ring the doorbell, the cats are naked.
Amazing.
Anyways, Sam's Lot. So they're trying to figure out what they're going to do if they can't get Dr. Cody on their side, and Ben suggests that they go to the graveyard tonight and just like see what happens. And I'm like, this seems like a horrible idea, actually. Like, the assumption is that now vampires always rise out of the ground, which we've already learned is not the case. 2, if something does rise out of the ground, do you actually want to be there when that happens? Because I don't. Absolutely not.
I'll bring out the game cams and we'll set them up and like, watch
Yes.
from afar.
Correct.
And then be like, well, shit, it happened. Now we know.
The way I would turn into one of those like Christian girls that has like crosses tattooed on their bodies so quickly if vampires were real. Like, if it helps,
Right.
there you would be everywhere.
I don't think it will.
I don't know. I would be willing to find out though, as a
Right?
second line of defense.
Just have it tattooed like on your neck and everything, thinking they're not gonna get me, and like the vampires are like, you still got toes, and it's like
Scream.
It's like
I'd wear like a
you
big
so
chain.
become like the house that's like, like witchy kind of thing, and then all of a sudden it's like, did I just walk into the chapel and there's just a cross like on every wall and you're just like covered in them and you're like, hi, I am here, I am never leaving.
They'd be like,
Oh
that's
my
such
God.
that girl's weird. Why is she got so many crosses everywhere? It would be like pentagrams on the floor for demon traps and also crosses, and they'd be like, what the fuck is going on in that house?
10 out of 10. Her name will be Hope.
That was my dog's name.
Yep. What the hope?
Yeah, we didn't name
Oh
her
my
that.
God.
She came with that name. We were gonna change it, but she wasn't very good about rules or listening, so we're like, not worth it.
We love hope.
Yeah, she was very good. So Matt also recommends that they talk to Father Callahan, aka the drunkest priest ever, but I kind of love him. And then Cody says that he'll talk to Ben after his rounds, which honestly, love Cody for even like humoring them.
Yeah.
Right.
So Cody says, especially since Matt agrees, he's having a hard time like writing Ben off, which is the proper response. Honestly, because everybody knows Matt in town. They don't know who the fuck Ben is.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't know who Ben is. I'm using a lot of profanity this episode, so I need to chill out a little bit. But it's okay.
That's supposed to be, my character's shtick.
Cody says, it's fine. We'll dig up the body. We'll see what happens. But it kind of sounds like he believes, but it also he's having like a healthy amount of skepticism, which is good. It means Cody is a rational person.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I also love that his name is actually Jimmy, but because they call him Dr. Cody, I've just shortened it to Cody.
Yeah. Also, too, the body they're talking about is the Glick boy.
Yes.
The one that was buried, not the one that is still missing.
Yeah.
Rest in pieces.
The one that she called a bully.
Listen.
That's gonna be future merch. I just gave you future merch ideas, so I expect 2% royalty checks.
Oh yeah. And my merch that doesn't make any money, ask Nova, because Nova gets 50% of the profits.
Wait, it's 50? Holy shit.
Yeah, I gave you 50% of the profit.
Good lord,
Yeah.
dude.
She doesn't even know this. So she's like, where the fuck is my paycheck
I've
now?
had no sales, so I am going to be redoing my merch store at some point though, because I found a better alternative. That's supposed to like pay out more in profit and stuff like that. So we'll see. We'll see how it works. Also, it would allow me to sell on Etsy, which is fun, instead of being tied to like one commercial company.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Anyways, they do start describing what a dead body should look like in a week. So that's kind of gross.
I thought it was cool.
I didn't like it.
I've been
Like I
morbid
just kind of was like,
of
oh, okay,
curiosity.
I was like, this is information that I'm getting, but like I wasn't gonna throw up, but I was like, oh, I don't really want this information.
Yeah.
Too bad you have been delivered this information.
Literally.
Who you are.
Apparently. So now they're gonna tell the Glick family that they want to dig up Danny's corpse, but once they get there, they find out that Mrs. Glick died that morning, and they sent the husband to like an asylum situation. It sounded like, I think they sent him to like what was it? I don't remember what it was called. But he said
It's
he had
been
like
weeks now since I've read the book,
Yeah.
so yeah.
I don't remember. I think it was like
but-
probably some mental ward in a hospital or something, or
Yeah, because
just something like that.
he already broke down when he lost both his children. And to now lose his wife after, she's already kind of had like these hallucinations of saying that, Danny visited us and, he's over here like, oh, great, she's drunk again. And then to slowly kind of realize, oh, no, her son's been feeding on her and everything. And and it's almost like in a very perverse sexual way. Like the vampires are perverting, what a very young mother-son relationship kind of is. And
Freud is just rolling in his grave.
Yeah, I think we talked about this last week where Freud's just rolling and everything. Yep. But yeah, I would not doubt it if what she said to say he went to a mental asylum, because it's like,
I don't know if it was like a mental institution or if they said asylum, because I was also reading a book set in the 1800s and that was called an asylum. So I might be getting asylum from there, and it might have just been like a hospital.
It's all bleeding in.
I have no idea.
I could be wrong, but I thought it was like he went to the hospital to go into like the mental, like
maybe
how they have like you're not like need to go to the institute. You can just be in the hospital in this ward for a few days. But I could be wrong. But that's what I had gotten out of what I thought it was.
I think the two are just bleeding into my head together a little bit, because it's been a couple weeks since we read these, and I binged The Living Daylights out of this 1800s novel. So yeah,
all I have is that he was in shock. So
okay.
So that's probably, chances are that's probably what happened. It's he's like in a not really an intensive unit, but something like that, where it's more to keep an eye on him. It's like you lost both your kids in like about a month span, and then you lost your wife. So it's a lot to process, and he already broke to begin with. So to lose his wife after watching her go nuts for like weeks on end, it does something to your brain.
So they decide that they're going to go to the funeral home because they're sure that no one's going to be there on Sunday. And they're like, okay, now we have Mrs. Glick's body that we can figure out what's going to go on with. So Ben's starting to freak out a little bit. He's like, is this a terrible idea? And I'm like, yes, dude, this is a horrible idea. But they just go on with it. While this is all going on, Susan, being an absolute idiot, decided that she was going to go to the Marston house by herself and just sneak in. She didn't have a plan. She didn't have a crucifix. She didn't have anything going on. And she just kind of went in there. No, she did have a small crucifix. It was a necklace one.
She had a very flimsy piece of fencing, like it was supposed to like the
Oh.
white picket fence with like the little sharp thing.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
like it's not even supposedly what the legend is that I think you have to like use like a Joshua wood tree, like a Joshua tree wood or something like that in order to like actually kill the vampires. So she's like just rips off this little piece
Mhm.
of fencing, and I was like, okay, so not only is she coming to someone's house when no one's there, but she's also vandalizing the property. So
Yeah.
it's like she's kind of getting what she's getting here.
Yeah, and
Right.
bought the smallest like little cross necklace
Yeah.
possible, thinking that would be fine and dandy. Turns out not fine and dandy, but So, yeah, we find out she's like sneaking through the woods around this house, and then someone sneaks up behind her and taps her shoulder. And then it cuts off, which honestly, good writing. Cody and Ben are locking themselves in the room with Mrs. Glick's body because that's a wonderful idea. Yeah. So, and then Ben admits that he didn't bring a cross. And I'm like, bro, is this your first rodeo? Like, vampires are real. What is your next answer? Always have a cross on you. All the time, forever.
Yeah.
Like, I would have them hanging in front of doorways, so you had to, like, smack the cross when you walked into the doorway.
But also too, this is still like the early like, oh my god, there's vampires in the lot, like it's still the early moments of we're clicking to it, and this is probably like the first huge manifestation that they are actually dealing with. And like, what are we on page 300? No, we gotta be at least on page 400 by now that all this is happening. Because this is like almost a 600-page book. And page 400 is just right when they're like, holy shit, there's vampires in a lot, kind of makes you wonder. It's like, well, what the hell were the rest of the pages for? And it's like, set up.
Yeah, truly.
That's how Stephen King does it. Set up.
It shocks me that like most people's first reaction is not to be overly prepared. Like, that is my answer to every single thing. If I'm gonna go on a trip, I'm packing for a week, because like, what if I get stranded? I don't know. Anything can happen.
Hi, I literally have a plan for the zombie apocalypse. Like,
Is it getting on that island writers retreat and then just living off of there?
No, it's going to my hometown. Like,
That
ain't
was
nothing
also-
coming up there.
That's my plan for the zombie apocalypse. Is I'm going to wherever you are. Like,
Yeah.
It seems
we are
like
gathering any family we can, going to Jackman, because the whole town is in like a valley and it's away from everybody. Like, the next towns are like half an hour away, and they're so much tinier than it that you have to go an hour to go even to something bigger than it. And then if you want to go to like, Walmart, it's an hour and a half. Everything's far away from it.
That's a whole fucking adventure. That's a Walking Dead episode right there.
Well, everyone is a hunter or in the Border Patrol or something like that.
Oh my!
So, yeah, it's gonna be probably fine up there.
It's not your usual small town. It's the small town where a lot of, gun holders are.
It's in the middle of the woods. There's like nothing else around. So
yeah,
pretty much everyone has hunted, can hunt, and owns a gun.
Maine has a bunch of tiny little islands.
Yeah. That is true. Maine has a lot of islands.
Then
you just go to the coast and yeet out there.
For her first zombie apocalypse thing will be like a zombie moose that just gored a Border Patrol agent.
Good lord. Probably. No, we wouldn't have to worry about the zombies. We have to worry more about the cow moose with their babies coming through and like attacking.
Yeah. See, I would hop on a boat to get to Maine, because there's no way I would be able to get all the way there in a car if a zombie apocalypse broke out, because I live in Florida and everybody has the same answer, which is don't be in Florida if a zombie apocalypse happens. Because not only is that definitely going to be the origin point, but there's also way too many people here, and most of them are dumb. And their answer to a zombie apocalypse bite would probably be like, oh, being a zombie isn't that bad. Or
Oh yeah, I
Hunting.
got bitten, but I still decided to go to safety.
I
Yeah,
still identify as a human.
yeah. So I would not want to be in Florida if the zombie apocalypse broke out at all.
But the thing is you would have to stop halfway, or depending on the boat that you have, you would have to stop somewhere along the East Coast just to refill.
Sailboat.
Okay, yeah, that's still going to take you a while. How long would it
I
take
mean,
the
it's gonna
sailboat
take me
from?
a long time, but inevitably I will
By
end
then, Nova
there.
could have been eaten and turned, and
I think Nova's gonna survive. I have full faith that Nova would survive. I would end up dying before I think Nova would die.
take notes,
I
notes. Nova's probably going to
was
be the first one gone.
I literally had this conversation with someone one time, and we were talking of who would survive jail and who would survive the zombie apocalypse. And the friend I was talking to would survive jail, not the zombie apocalypse. I would not survive jail. I would survive the zombie apocalypse.
Oh my god.
See, my first problem is I can't poop or pee in the woods. How am I gonna survive? Unknown.
I think it's survival. It'd be a little different.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm pee
Depends
shy.
until you wipe your ass with the first thing is of poison ivy or sumac and everything. It's
That's
like,
another
okay,
reason I would die. I don't know how to scavenge. I'm gonna hope that Nova's got a book on it somewhere.
I actually do.
I
she's
knew
like,
it.
these berries,
I knew if
she's like,
anybody
these
did,
berries
it
look
would be
safe.
you.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew a lot about it anyway, but I got it because I am writing like an apocalyptic in Maine. And I was like, okay, I
Perfect.
want more of the ins and outs, like the little things that I didn't know.
Yeah.
Stephen King's place better be a fortress of solitude. That's all I gotta say. It's gotta be. You gotta
Maybe?
save Stephen
Probably?
King.
You gotta save Stephen King. Okay, we'll
gotta
save
save
Stephen
Stephen
King. Don't worry. He's on the docket to be saved then.
Yeah. Right next to like the Pope and
All
People are
right.
gonna be like, "What's did you load onto your sailboat?" And it's gonna be me, Daniel, the cat, and then a whole bunch of books.
that'll probably get ruined by the weather.
Well, sailboats usually have like an under storage.
Yeah.
Like if it's a bigger sailboat, it's not all
Yeah.
top side. So I don't
If
know.
you
gotta
stay
go look
close
for
to
a
the
really good
coast,
sailboat.
I also
if
don't
you
know how
hit
to.
it right, I think the current pretty much will go right up if you hit it at the right time of
Yeah.
year.
I also
Just-
don't know how to do a sailboat. So like maybe my first plan should be how to sail a sailboat, and then I will be an essential part of the zombie apocalypse and not a full nuisance on Nova's resources.
There you go.
Yearly, we decide everyone's address and who lives along a coastline that I can pick up to bring to Jackman.
Right. Just get to the East Coast and Rachel will grab you.
Yeah.
If you know how to sail a ship, even better.
If you can sail a sailboat, you're in. But if you can't, best of luck.
I know
Start
people who
swimming.
can sail a
Get the
sailboat,
swimming.
There you
but they're
go.
in Maine.
Well, send instructions. I'll have them printed out and ready to go at any sign of catastrophe. Anyways, Salem's Law. So, Dr. Cody, being the only logical person, decided to make a cross out of those tongue depressors.
Yeah.
Which, as long as it works, I guess, but it starts glowing, which is just a level of this new lore that I was not prepared for. Don't know why it's glowing. It just be like that, apparently.
Yeah.
And it turns out, yes, indeed, we do have a vampire, Mrs. Glick. She attacks them as soon as like the sun sets, and takes a big old bite out of Dr. Cody. So, however, it seems that most people are not turning from one bite, which is good.
Yeah.
So and then he like freaks out and immediately is like dumping like antiviral stuff in it, which like rubbing alcohols, I'm guessing. But
Yeah.
he's
He's
dumping
cleaning it all
everything.
out.
Yeah. which is a
Which makes
good.
you wonder if this is either an infection that
Mhm.
causes people, or through the power of mysticism that you just have to be drained of all blood before you finally, you
Yeah.
know, you have to be more exposed to whatever is in their body,
Yeah.
which
I have personally
that
really
could be
liked.
anything.
Yeah, I liked the more recent vampire lore, which is they then have to drop their blood into your body for you to become a vampire, because I feel like that's what makes a lot of sense to me personally when it comes to
Yeah.
vampire lore,
Yeah.
because otherwise you're turning all of your food source into vampires constantly.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
like I'm currently binge watching The Strain, and they have a very similar thing like that where but their form of vampirism is spread through a little white worm, which I
Mhm.
guess is more of a nod to Bram Stoker's The Lair of the White Worm and everything. That's one
Mhm.
way of infection. But if you are turned to the point where you have your memories and you're a little bit
Mhm.
more in control of your animalistic intakes, that it looks almost like it could be the master's blood. If you
Mhm.
intake that, then you kind of have a better grasp of who you are, but now you are slowly going to turn into a vampire and
Mhm.
Mhm.
everything. It looks like that, but for some reason, when I see it on my television, it looks like a teardrop. So it's like whatever the hell he's squeezing, it's like what is that? Is that his blood? Is that a teardrop? That's kind of weird with
Yeah.
the biology,
Yeah.
but also too for them, they also have it where like you grow like another organ. So it's like it's not like your traditional vampires. If you kill the master, then everyone else is cured. It's like no, you kill everyone else because this damn thing grows like a giant long ass tongue, and like part of its neck has like this whole little breathing apparatus. So I'm guessing that's what replaces the lungs. Is you
Mhm.
get this long ass
Weird.
tongue. Yeah, it's more of
Yeah.
a scientific take on it,
Mhm.
but it's also more of a like it's an epidemic.
That's kind of
So
cool though.
imagine coronavirus but with vampires.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good lord.
And this came out before the coronavirus too. This came out like in 2015.
Oh, wild.
Yeah. It's a book series too called The Strain.
Hmm.
Ooh.
Yeah. So there you go, readers. I just gave you another trilogy to read.
Love that. So, yeah, Mrs. Glick just teleports at the end, it sounds like, which I was very confused by. So this either means that A, they totally could have teleported at any point in time, or B, the vampires are leveling up, or C, I misread it. I don't think I did, but that's also an option.
It's almost kind of like King's version of the Mist. You know how like they can like turn in the mist and then just kind
Hmm.
of. I guess that's kind of what. That's what I interpret it as. It's his version of the disappearing act into the mist, and though
Yeah.
really only Dracula's been the one to really kind of show that. You know.
Yeah, I feel like everybody else with the vampire mist like idea has just
Hmm.
made it so that vampires are very, very fast.
Yeah.
So then like they seem like they're disappearing, but that's because they run away.
Yeah. In,
Hmm.
in, in King's book, it doesn't sit there seeming like the vampires are like super super fast individuals. They're just very crafty.
Mm-hmm.
Like they definitely know to just stay in numbers. In numbers, they'll win and they'll
Yeah.
get a meal and
Mm-hmm.
everything. They're not like the vampires of today, which are kind of like the zombies of today, where it's no longer like the slow, limping creatures. It's everything today's got to be fast. It's got to be fast and cerebral because that's the only way that we can scare the audience. It seems it's with the 28-day rage zombies slash rage vampires and
Mm-hmm. Well, I also feel like now if if something is slow, we can easily trap it. You know,
true,
like
true.
I feel like it was scary if they were slow when it felt like there was no way to get away from it. So it was like an inevitable doom.
Like Night of the Living Dead.
Haven't seen it. I have not watched
Well, in
most.
this one, without spoiler warnings, they look at it as there's only a few dead out there. And then
Mm-hmm.
some of them are like, well, just ignore them. As long as we're locked up in here, we'll be fine. There's like, until they know that we're here, then how many are going to show up? And then sooner or later, it goes from just one zombie to three to like it's a whole group gathering, and then pretty much it ends where there's like a mob of them outside. And
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
like, yeah, I kind of get like the slow ones, you can trap them and all that if you are in an open field and you have the right equipment. But if you're like, say in Night of the Living Dead, you're on a farmhouse trying to lock up and keep them out, sooner or later they'll figure out, you know, they're not entirely dumb, but
Mhm.
they would figure out
Yeah.
2 + 2 = 4, and then they'll just start swarming, but they'll do it at a gradual rate, you know.
Yeah. Jimmy's like, okay, we have to cover this up. And he decides the best way to do that is just to punch Ben directly in the face with no warning. Um, honestly, I think that's the best way to do it because if I did see it coming, someone punching me in the face,
Yeah.
I think I'd be like, let's think of another way and run away. So that's totally fair because I also would not want to be punched in the face.
Cody's
Right.
very much like he's an engineer for sure. You know,
Mhm.
coming up with the cross, and then like the whole like, you know, come here Ben is like what, and bam, sock him with, like what's that
Yep.
for? It's like
Mhm.
for the believable story. It's like someone came in here, took the body. We have to make it look real. And if you would have known, you would have flinched, and it wouldn't have looked right. And
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
he's a smart man. He is a very smart man.
Hmm. But now we have two scenes of the crimes that Ben has been at. He has been at two crimes with dead bodies. So that's not looking
Yes.
good. But they have
Mm-mm.
to call the cops on themselves. The sheriff does not believe them at all. He knows they're in a lie, cannot figure out what it is though. And the sheriff's like, listen, I cannot hold you guys, but like, are you gonna tell me what's going on here? Or are you just gonna keep lying? And they're like, we're not lying. We're totally not lying. Um, but yeah, they gotta go make statements to the cops tomorrow, and that's the end of that chapter. Then we are on to chapter 12 with our boy Mark. So I got confused for a second about Mark and Matt. I keep doing that. And I was like, what is happening? But then we find out that kid Mark has a pistol on him. And I am reminded that kids in the 70s can literally do whatever they want because they have no rules. How to get access to a pistol? Nobody knows. So we do find out, luckily though, it is Mark, in fact, who sees Susan and taps her on the shoulder. And the fact that Susan did not see Mark coming tells us enough that he probably shouldn't be out there. I mean, she
Yeah.
should not be out there because she is not planning ahead. She is not looking around for her surroundings. She's just tromping through the woods, attracting all the vampires, and is gonna get everyone killed. Sorry, I gave you my yawn.
Yeah. What the hell?
My B. Um, so Mark's entire plan is just to put a stake through the heart and hope for the best. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I love that for you, but you are like 10. These are full grown adults. Don't know how I feel about that. However, I
But
will
it's
say, sorry.
but it is funny because out of everyone, when you really look at who is all unprepared, it's Matt. Not Matt. It's Mark. Right
Mhm.
next to Matt. Yeah, it right next to Mark. It's Matt. But
Yeah.
you know,
Mhm.
Mark is like the most prepared guy for all of this. Like he may not have stakes already made and everything, but he generally knows what to do
Hmm.
and everything because you know he's read the horror magazines and he's seen the horror movies. You know, this guy pretty much got his vampire, and I think they bring it up in the book too. The kid gets his vampire degree from watching movies
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
everything, and that's even something that's referenced in the Lost Boys years later. It's like I
Hmm.
got my vampire hunting degree through freaking movies and everything, and where Matt's more the by the books, you study this, you know, he's looking at that. You have two generations of people of how they studied killing vampires and everything, and what one through the actual texts of, you know, the origins and whatever, and then you got one through the movies. It's all like, you know, you
Hmm.
stake them, you know, you throw some garlic in their mouth, you cut their heads off, that's it. And you know, um, then of course, there's a lot more to it. Like you actually have to burn the bodies, and then you have to take the body to a Four Winds Cross intersection and then dump the ashes here, so all the ashes go everywhere, so the body doesn't reform. There's a lot more that goes into the old, I think it's Slavic, of like, the Slavic tales on how you kill a vampire and everything. And
Yeah. I
King
also
probably thought
really,
that was overkill.
but I do like that Stephen King always makes it so that the kids are like the most prepared,
Yeah.
you know? I love that. Like I like that as his thing where the kids are never useless. At
Well,
least the
it's
ones I've
more,
read.
yeah, well, it's more of a self-reflection because when he was starting to really get into writing, as a child, he grew up on the EC comic stuff.
Mhm.
So, to like read all this, it's like, oh, it's like, this is like right here, like how do you kill a zombie? How do you combat a cursed object of some sort? He's kind of went through that general training through a comic book of, oh, if I had to kill a vampire, I would have to do this. Or, how do
Yeah.
you kill a werewolf? Do you use a silver bullet? And everything. And I think a lot of people take that in measure to like how much EC Comics is like Tales from the Crypt, and Vault of Horror, like how much that influenced like the filmmakers years on. Because I'm pretty sure even the filmmakers who did like Monster Squad, which again, side tangent, they have teens, or no, middle schoolers and a teenager pretty much going through horror magazines, and they are getting their base to base. How do you kill a mummy? How do you kill the werewolf? You
Mhm.
know, it's silver bullet and everything, and it's a whole training manual. It's funny how we've trained children now to how to kill supernatural creatures.
Mhm.
It's very
But
much
I mean
it.
it works.
Yeah, it works. It works. And to me, I don't think it's a trope that'll ever get old because we enjoy it. We enjoy it so much because we relate to it so much.
Mhm. I think we all want to be that kid that finds out the vampires are real and we have to
Yeah,
use our actual knowledge of all of our reading to
yeah.
solve that problem.
Oh yeah.
you know, we feel like our own Abraham Van Helsings, our
Mhm.
Sherlock Holmes. I prefer Moriarty, but to each their own. I want to be
I,
evil.
I want to be evil. That's from
Is that an actual song?
yeah, it's from the Disney movie. It's like the best one that's come out recently where they're all villains kids and they all go to college with or high school
Oh,
with
I know exactly
Oh,
what you're talking about.
Descendants.
yes,
Yeah,
thank you.
We watched
I've
that when
never
you were
seen
here.
it, but my brother loves those movies and
They're
everything. And
so good. I don't know why, but they're a little cheesy, but they're pretty good. I like them.
if it's got cheese, it's good.
Hmm. Yes, sir.
It's more than just a food tip.
But Susan finally believes now, which little late, but go off. Mark fully breaks in, just busts a window. I don't think he actually busts a window. I think he just opens a window, but he breaks into this house, and now they're both in this house together. Um, while they're like going through the house, they find a random book in Latin of unknown origin, which I feel like is going to be significant, but I don't know if it actually is. But it's there.
Kinda.
Okay. We'll find out. So, they're going through this whole house, room by room together, and Straker comes back and he catches them in the house, which nobody anticipated that there'd be someone that could walk around during the daytime in this house. Bad
Yeah.
plan.
Mm-hmm.
So, Straker took Mark's gun, tied him up, and then also threw Susan in the cellar. So, all the vampires we find out are in the cellar where Susan is. because they're morons. And Mark is now just tied up, like dangling. So like my idea, so he's like tied to the ceiling rafters where they
Yeah,
found hubby's
Hoobie.
body. So like he's just like planking basically, but all tied up. And we find out that hubby Marston was the one who brought Barlow to America, supposedly. That's what Straker kind of says. He's like, they're
It's more of
friends.
it's the evil that already had planted itself, and so they more or less they were just attracted.
Fair.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
Makes
I
sense.
get I mean, I think it was more like Barlow was inspired by hubby being here, maybe. I don't know.
probably, yeah, because with the whole satanic stuff, it's like what better way to sit there and lie into a house that has in a sense been desecrated,
Mm-hmm.
because we already know they're not friends with Christ,
Mm-hmm.
whatsoever. They don't like the cross. They don't like the faith and everything whatsoever. And so why not settle down in a desecrated land?
Mm-hmm.
That's like a vampire's playground right there.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have to worry about any religious artifacts of any sorts. So yeah, Hubi accidentally did them a favor.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I had written down friends, question mark, lots of question
Yeah.
marks. I was like,
Um
okay.
So Mark decides he's gonna try and Houdini his way out of here. Um and that was not like a joke. That was he's using Houdini's methods for
Mhm.
Yeah.
escaping, which I love. I love that this kid is a child of many interests. Go off. Um so he does actually get out of the ropes, which was shocking in and of itself. And he hears someone coming up the stairs. So he's like, okay, I got to go out the window. Window nailed shut.
Yeah.
So he's like, okay, well, now I guess I have to defend myself. So he finds, I think it's like a stick of some sort, like a large plank. What's that
Thought
called?
it was a pipe or something, but
Maybe,
I
I
I,
don't
I,
know.
I
Yeah.
could have been I could have been mistaken. He
He
fucked
finds
him up.
some, yeah, he finds some form of weapon, hits Straker on the head twice, knocks him out cold. Um, and then his hand somehow goes around Mark's ankle, but like it seems like more of a reaction kind of thing. Like he's not still not conscious, but I would have given him another hit on
like
the
like
head
a
just
like
for
a
that.
reflex,
Yeah.
because he took a couple of wallops in the skull, so
Yeah. But I would have thrown another one in for good measure when that happened, but
and
Mark
then hit him
just
back in the dick again like you did earlier. Because earlier when Mark was being carried
Mhm.
and everything, and Straker knew who he was, and then Mark tried to fight back and kick him in the balls and everything.
Mhm.
Straker gets revenge by whenever they do like the Houdini trick thing with the rope. He
Mhm.
cinches it right on Mark's freaking nads and everything, and
Ugh.
hurts the boy as like a
Yeah.
payback. And I think that would have been even better payback of like I'll bust both your heads and like
Top tier. So Mark has escaped though, and he's like, "Oh my god, I gotta go save Susan," which apparently seems to be everyone's reaction when it comes to Susan. So he tries to go down to the cellar, but he hears her get shot. Not a good sign. And he's like, "Okay, well, I obviously can't go save her because there was a gunshot. She stopped making noise, which means she's either dead or she's a vampire." So
Yeah.
he is now on the run and runs home. Mark's parents are freaking out because this kid's like 10 and came home past his curfew because it's obviously like nighttime now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And when we leave off, his dad is descending upon him, which I don't know what that's supposed to mean. If this kid's like getting beat or if that's like a hug situation or what that's supposed to mean, but they don't really explain it.
Well, like the parents have been kind of worried about him, about how he's been processing the Glick boy's death and all this other stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
father's like, I think he's doing fine. Mom's all like, well, like, he doesn't seem normal. So
Mm-hmm.
I think most of all, the parents are kind of just wondered with all this going on, is it truly fucking our child up
Mm-hmm.
and everything? Uh, Mark's dad is more of a very logical kind of guy. Like, he wouldn't believe in vampires, but he would believe in infections and bacteria, and
Yeah.
that's more his father. So I don't really think he ever came off as abusive,
Yeah,
or
I
maybe
could
he
I
could have came off subconsciously abusive.
yeah, I don't know what that meant, but it was just the phrasing. But
Yeah,
we do find out though, Susan, 1000% a vampire. She like flirts with Mark for some reason. Um
yeah,
and trying to get let in, which is weird. And Mark's like, oh my god, now I have to warn that whiter Ben that his girlfriend is a vampire. Obviously, he can't call because he doesn't know Ben at all.
Mhm.
So this 10-year-old child has to go set out to go warn him. So
yeah.
that's fun.
This kid was like, he had way too damn much to sit there and deal with
Mm-hmm.
in this book. Especially in this chapter,
Oh,
this has to be
yes.
like Mark's biggest shine of
Mm-hmm.
his ingenuity, his cunningness. This kid right here is definitely someone that Barlow completely underestimated, but yet Barlow still feels like he has Mark under his thumb, especially
Mm-hmm.
in the scene where it's right when Mark is going for Susan, and then you hear like the gunshot,
Mm-hmm.
but Barlow actually knows Mark's up there. He's like, why don't you come down here? And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, he's like, sooner or later you're going to be with us. He's like, I'll get your parents and I'll get your friends. And it's like, that's the most scariest thing ever, is being in the light and safe while there's
Mm-hmm.
something in the cellar in the darkness talking to you and saying, I'm going to get your family, and I'm going to get anyone you ever loved or care for.
Mm-hmm.
That's some top tier level psychology shit.
Oh yeah. You don't
Yeah.
even need to touch the kid at that point. That's just
Yeah,
like
you've done your job. You've done your job already. I think this is
mental
what makes
hospital.
Barlow's
Here we come.
Mm-hmm.
but this is, I think, what makes Barlow such a great villain, is he doesn't have to physically do anything. It's just his presence and the feeling he gives off around the town. You
Yeah.
know, even
Yeah.
whenever he met the guy in the garbage pit, again, that was mostly just a conversation. He just
Mm-hmm.
talked to the guy and everything, but it was like the sinisterness behind the words. And then with the boy who the cable guy who was fucking around with that one dude's wife and everything. Again,
Yeah.
Barlow was only talking. That's all he ever did. So it just
Yeah.
goes to show you that this dude has yet to even show us a sliver of his power. All he's been doing is talking, but his talking is so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then we're on to chapter 13, Father Callahan. Um, he has come to visit Matt in the hospital room. I kind of like that we don't ever get the side where it's like Matt calling. It's just like, okay, let's just all assume really quick that that happened. Moving
Yeah,
on. Like we don't like lag down the story with like details that don't matter.
yeah,
Hmm.
But he's come to visit Matt in the hospital. He's kind of surprised Matt isn't straight up dying. He's like, the only time I get summoned to a hospital is when people like want to convert to Catholicism real quick before they go and meet their maker, you know? Which I love the honesty here, because why else would a priest ever come to a hospital? Um,
yeah,
but he thinks Matt must have gone crazy because he's like, all right, you're talking to me about vampires, dude. What's going on? You good, chief? Kind of vibe.
yeah,
Right
Hmm.
answer. Love it. So he I forgot in my notes, I couldn't remember what those little bite things that are supposed to be the body of Christ are called, so I called them church wafers.
that's
Um
kind of what there are. They're wafer.
yeah.
They're like little wafer cookies.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
if any Catholics in the chat, don't get mad at me. Um so yeah, he basically Matt's like, "Hey, can we please get some holy water, also some church wafers because I feel like this might help. I don't want to die via vampire." And Father Callahan's like, "That literally goes against everything I believe in as a priest. So no. Which, here's the thing. You can totally just like ask a priest to give you holy water and they do it. Like my grandparents have holy water when they enter their house, just available at
Yeah.
all times. Like you can just go to a priest and be like, "Hi, can I have some holy water?" and they usually just give it to you. So for Father Callahan not to want to give out holy water, I think it's rude. That's all I'm saying.
I still gotta say he's the most interesting character I think King's ever written. One of the most interesting characters King's written and
Fair.
everything. But because like earlier in the book and everything, what's funny is Callahan always sat there and thought that evil was like out there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's the evil is like what lurks in the shadows. He kind of like almost kind of like in a sense of how everyone here now is starting to believe in the vampires, but that's only one form of evil and everything. But like as time went on, he kind of starts sitting there saying more that the evil is more or less inside us and everything, and it makes sense. He kind of went into this career path to fight evil, almost like it's a superhero thing. And then just to realize, like, evil is something even in me, and he kind of compares it to the bottle, that so it's funny when you go through all of this, and I would have to explain to you guys exactly why I love this character so much once we wrap up towards the end of this book of just Callahan's story, because what I'll tell you will blow your freaking mind about this character, and probably would be the reason why you want to read the next book.
We can read the next book after this if you guys want to.
Well, I don't know, because you have to read a couple more books before you get to that book, because it's part of a series. So
maybe not then.
Yeah.
Did they ever invite me onto that Losers Club podcast?
Oh my god, I want to be on there. The Losers Club.
Yeah.
Or King's
I follow
Cast.
them.
That's a good one. King's
I follow
Cast
them. I
is
haven't listened to it yet, but I follow them.
They're really great, knowledgeable people.
Yeah, they seem cool. I haven't read most of Stephen King's books, so I didn't want to like give myself spoilers. So
yeah, there's already been certain like episodes that they had. I have to skip them because it's like, no, I can't, because I'm reading that book right now.
Yeah, and I didn't know if they would like spoil me for other books. Like if I listen to one that's about like a book I've read, if I'll accidentally get spoilers from like his most popular ones. Like I feel like I should definitely read The Shining first.
Yes.
At least see the movie or read the book of it. I don't know. We'll see.
I would say with The Shining, skip the Kubrick film and watch the TV miniseries that Meg Garris did with King.
Okay.
And everything. That one was much more closer to the book, but also too, if you see both films, it's like, oh wow, there's not that much of a difference. Really, there isn't. It's just, yeah, there's not that much of a difference.
Fair enough. Good to know.
I think I've only seen the movie, not the miniseries of The Shining.
Yeah, not many people see it. That was during the 90s when Stephen King like took over all the television. And they did like The Langoliers and The Shining, Storm of the Century, which I have the screenplay of that in my library. That was like the first original King story that he wrote for television, and then he released the screenplay for the book audience. And what else? He did The Stand. That was the biggest one. I still think after that production value, that's the best King television series out of the whole 90s.
I just watched that a few weeks ago.
The original or the one that's on I think it's Paramount Plus?
I think probably the original, because I don't have Paramount Plus.
Okay, so 94. Yeah, that's the best one. I watch that all the time. It's a great beginning of pandemic. I watched that and it's like, oh my god, this feels so real now. It's all like
my dad brought it out. He's like, I have this. We're gonna watch it this time when I was up there one week, and so we watched it like throughout the week, pieces of it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Salem's Lot. I wish I was better with transitions, but I'm not. So
no, but you know what? That works. That works because we keep saying it. You're doing a great job. You're doing a great job. I love it. I love that because Salem's Lot. And like all I could think of is the title card, like just going right through the screen.
Anyways,
It's a great
Salem's
transition. Yeah.
My merch just says, so Salem's Lot.
Anyways, ...
We
With
can
a little
get our
thing.
position
Insert
like the
book
guy
title
from,
here.
Actually, can I have that merch? I think I
Yeah.
should make that. Okay, hold on. Let me write that down.
You can have her position like the guy from Office Space that's like the, I'm going to need you to come in this weekend. But just do like, insert book title.
Anyways,
like
insert book title
it's a
here.
Mad Lib. Like it's a Mad Lib.
Yeah.
See, this is what happens when you have guests that want to help you on merch. You know, we shoot this stuff. You know,
I feel like that would be a cute sticker.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so Salem's Lot.
You did it wrong. Do it again.
Anyways, Salem's Lot.
Fans demand it.
So Father Callahan's like, okay, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to Straker's store and tell him we think he's a vampire. And I'm like, are we gonna do that? Like, I
know,
we
right?
shouldn't do that. Like, let's just go to the vampire den and be like, you all seem like vampires, and just see what happens. Like, Father Callahan is that like person at the party that's like, what if we just take like 15 shots of Everclear? What's the worst that can happen? You're like, the worst that could happen is that I get liver damage, sir. What do you mean?
I wake up tomorrow in the hospital, maybe not even tomorrow, maybe like 3 days from now, and they're like, hey, by the way, we had to pump your stomach because you had really bad alcohol poisoning, and you may have died once or twice in the process, but it's good, fam.
This is the frat boy that's like, I bought a bottle of Rumpelmans for every single person, and you have to finish it by the end of the night. What's the worst that could happen? The ambulance showing up 15 times for every single person in this room is the worst thing that could happen. But I digress. So then, we get Father Callahan processing this entire thing. He's just at home that night, and he says the night is silent, and he's terrified for his immortal soul. And I'm like, what an ending to part 2.
Mm-hmm.
Strong words.
Oh, yeah.
It keeps constantly going back to, like, he's always wondering about his soul. Mm-hmm. And, like, the whole thing about he used to think evil's out there, but evil's inside us. Mm-hmm. And now to know that it's actually both of them are the true thing, is that evil is all around us. It's inside us and out there and everything. And to figure that, with what Matt and everyone else is now gonna, pretty much divulge him in. Mm-hmm. It's like, holy shit, how the fuck have I not seen this? Yeah. Pardon my French, but it's fine. I think I've dropped the F-bombs about at least 3 times now and everything. But, that, again, he's a magnificent character, and there's so much I want to tell you guys about him,
We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. But at the same time, I'm just sitting here with my handful of freaking Uno cards getting ready to hit drop 4 on your asses. So
fair enough. But that is all we have for this week. Next week, we'll be continuing on with more Salem's Lot. Gothic / James, where can all of the people of the internet find you and your podcast? Not
you
podcast,
can find me
you
mostly.
And your stuff.
Getting ahead. I'm not yet in production on that one. You can pretty much find me anywhere. The Gothic Storyteller on Twitch, Instagram, Twitter. It's the Gothic Wafer. Don't ask. It just is.
At least it's not Church Wafer. That was a good note. I don't know. Sometimes you just gotta fill it in.
You were so confident with that, and it took me like way too long. I was like, "What do you mean?" And I'm like,
"It's mostly just because I love wafer cookies. I grew up eating those, and then most people call me Gothic on stream, and so one streamer that I follow who calls me Goth all the time or Gothic, she's like, you know what, we're gonna call you Mr. Wafers, and so legit, I told her when I rebranded on Twitter, it's like, yeah, it's called the Gothic Wafer now. And she's like, are you kidding me? And I was like, go look. She's like, holy shit, wafers.
Amazing.
I love it.
So she feels blessed that her nickname to me has now become an internet personality,
As she should.
Amazing.
Yeah. Nova, where can all the people of the internet find you and your stuff?
Pretty much anywhere at Novosaurus Rex. I know on my Instagram I have a link tree with some of my stuff. I still have not updated it. We're doing great out here. It's fine.
You have like 3 more weeks to update everything before these episodes go
Yeah,
live.
it's probably not gonna happen.
That's fine.
Let's be
That's
real.
fair.
These people are gonna be like over here, like writing down in the reviews. It's like, yeah, it's been 6 years and she still hasn't updated anything.
It's fine. It'd be like
Okay,
that.
maybe by then.
Possible. Per chance.
But
Maybe
By
in
then,
my
6
maybe
goal
years, I'll
it'll
have
is
be
medium.
by the time my next book comes out at the end of the year, to have it done. But that's still a couple months, so like I got time.
Vibe. But we will catch you all in the next chapter. Bye.
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 Thank you all so much for listening to this episode of the Barely Bookish podcast. If you want to find me, I am at Barely Bookish on all of the things. I also have a Patreon, so please feel free to check out the Patreon, and you can join for as low as $1 and get access to a bunch of great exclusive content. Also, I'm on Twitch, so once the world gets back to normal for me, I will be streaming again. So make sure to follow so you know whenever I stream, and I do like writing sprints and things like that, and it's a lot of fun. But yeah, I hope you all are having a great day, and I will catch you all in the next episode. Our logo was designed by my little sibling Sarah. Our theme song was by Raphael Crux. I'll catch you all later. Bye!